Welcome back to Dazzy Cars. Tonight, we're stepping into a time machine, one powered not by electricity, not by hybrid tech, not by turbocharged complexity, but by something raw, emotional, and forever etched into the soul of any real car enthusiast. The legendary BMW M5 E39. A car that didn't just define a segment, this thing created a religion. It wasn't just Germany flexing. It was BMW saying, "Here, America, here's perfection. Don't lose it." And every time you see one rolling down a highway in 2025, still sitting low, still carrying that quiet menace in its stance, you can feel that electricity in your chest. This is more than a sports sedan. This is the godfather of them all. Now, let's talk about the exterior, because the E39 M5 wasn't trying to be flashy, it wasn't trying to be loud. It was a wolf dressed like a gentleman. One look at the perfectly proportioned body, tight, athletic, purposeful, and you understand why people call this the cleanest M5 ever made. No fake vents, no gimmicks, no overstyled nonsense. Just a low-slung, wide-shouldered sedan with those iconic quad exhausts telling the world that underneath this mild-mannered face lives a naturally aspirated V8 ready to ruin egos at stoplights. The stance alone makes you pause. It's the kind of design that gets better with age because it was never trying to be trendy. It was carved with the kind of timeless sculpting you only see in machinery built with love, not algorithms. Moving inside, the interior feels like a time capsule from an era when BMW truly understood drivers. Before the oversized screens, before the layered menus, before the "hey look at me" tech overload, the E39 cabin was all about placing every control exactly where a human hand wants it to be. The analog gauges glow with a warmth modern cars can't replicate. The thickened steering wheel feels like the handshake of an old friend. And the seats, those legendary M Sport seats, hug your ribs with the perfect blend of luxury and discipline. Soft leather, simple elegance, zero distractions. It was a world built for people who cared about the drive more than the display settings. But let's get to the heart of why the E39 M5 is worshipped like a god. Under the hood sits the S62. 4.9-litre naturally aspirated V8, producing 394 horsepower that feels like it's made of pure soul. This isn't horsepower measured on paper. This is horsepower you feel in your bloodstream. Every throttle press has that razor-sharp immediacy you just don't get in turbocharged engines. No lag, no artificial boost tricks, just a tidal wave of power that builds in this linear, intoxicating crescendo as the revs climb. You hear it before you feel it, then you feel it everywhere the chassis squats, the intake roars, and suddenly you're not just driving, you're alive. You're part of the machine. That's the E39 difference. Handling? This thing danced. And I mean danced. Even by today's standards, even compared to modern M5s with computers doing half the thinking, the E39 is beautifully, dangerously analog. It gives you everything, every vibration, every tire movement, every ounce of weight transfer. You're involved, committed, respected by the car. The hydraulic steering alone is enough to make modern enthusiasts cry. It's heavy at slow speeds, alive at high speeds, and always perfectly communicative. You're not steering the M5, you're having a conversation with it. Safety features on the E39 were impressive for its era: ABS, traction control, multiple airbags, a rock-solid chassis, but here's the thing, the real safety wasn't in the tech, it was in the engineering. It was the balance, the predictability, the way the car worked with you instead of correcting you. Pricing back in the early 2000s made the M5 an attainable dream for the upper middle class, but today, prices are climbing fast because people realize what this car truly is: irreplaceable. Now let's talk about the feeling, because the feeling is what keeps this legend alive. Driving an E39 M5 today isn't retro, it isn't classic, it's like holding a piece of automotive truth. When you roll the windows down and let that V8 breathe into the world, you feel something modern cars rarely give you: connection. It's you, the road, and a machine built when perfection mattered more than efficiency scores. The E39 M5 doesn't feel old. It feels pure. The kind of purity we may never get again, and every time the sun hits that body just right, when those shadow lines run across the hood like a sculpture, you understand why enthusiasts stop mid-sentence just to admire it. This car isn't aging. It's maturing. It's becoming a legend in real time. Now let's glide into something more gentle, something more emotional, because the BMW M5 E39 carries a nostalgic weight. It reminds you of a time when car magazines were thicker, when Top Gear was wild, when parents handed down keys to their kids and said, "Respect this." It's the car that made kids fall in love with sedans, the car that made adults feel young again. And to this day, in the USA, you see it at cars and coffee meets surrounded by a crowd, not because it's the loudest, not because it's the newest, but because it's the realest. Moving deeper into the drive experience, imagine a winding mountain road, early morning mist, windows slightly cracked, V8 humming like a cathedral of mechanical music. You downshift into third, feel the gearbox notch into place, feel the chassis load, and the car just flows. This isn't digital power delivery. This is analog adrenaline. Something primal, something unforgettable. It feels like BMW took the very idea of the ultimate driving machine and turned it into metal. Now let's talk ownership. The E39 M5 isn't cheap today, not the good ones anyway. Clean examples hit $80,000, some even higher. But the people who buy them aren't buying specs. They're buying a heartbeat, a soulmate, a legacy. Cars like this become part of your identity. You park them differently. You drive them differently. You look back every single time you walk away because it demands it. The interior comfort and tech might be dated on paper, but the experience is timeless. BMW built cars to feel expensive without needing giant screens or haptic nonsense. Everything you touch feels real. Everything you see feels intentional. And when you lock it and hear that soft mechanical clunk, you know you're driving something engineered, not programmed. And now we move into the final emotional stretch of this journey, the way the E39 M5 wraps itself around your memories. Maybe you saw one in a video game. Maybe it was the poster car you couldn't afford. Maybe it was the car your uncle drove, the one you sat in as a kid, feeling the leather and hearing that growl when he pressed the gas. Maybe this car marks a moment in your life. Maybe it reminds you of who you were before the world got louder. That's why people chase E39s. It's not the specs, it's the soul.so. Let's drift into the ending, that cinematic moment, where the road opens, the sun sets behind you, and the M5 glows under that golden hour light. It's one of the last analog heroes we have left. A machine from a time when engineers had freedom, when drivers demanded honesty, when cars didn't need to shout to be powerful. The E39 M5 is not just a sports sedan, it is a moment in automotive history that will never happen again. And if you're loving this deep dive, punch that subscribe button like you're downshifting from fourth to third heading into a tight corner. Make it count, make it smooth, make it stylish. And before we wrap this up completely, if you somehow missed it, make sure to check out our previous video where we explored the Range Rover Sport 2023. That full breakdown is already up on the channel, waiting for you. Go watch it right now and continue your ride through the world of iconic machines with us.